He was levitating 2 to 3 inches off the patient bed. This patient was seen levitating off of his bed. You're going to have to leave the lights on for this one. I have got to go over this true life hospital story, and I myself am having a hard time wrapping my mind around this. So I thought I would share this with you and get your take on it too. So, by the way, if you're new to my channel, I'm Dr. Andrea O'Connor. Thank you for being here. And it's the fall season. Thanksgiving for us is next week. It's in the United States. And aren't you guys excited? I am so excited. 5 days off in a row from work. And I have my little buddy here with me. We're not going to be eating you, little guy. You just get to stay and hang out while we what should we name him? I don't know. Like Butterball, that's too obvious, right? We'll have to come up with a name for you. And he's missing one of his little what are those called that hang off turkeys? I don't know. He's missing one. He's so cute though still. Anyway, back to this story. So this is a true life hospital story that I did come across. I am still trying to find the author who did this, but I thought I would share it as entertainment because supposedly it's true, and then I'll give you my thoughts on what could explain what went on here. So there was a patient that was close to dying. I don't know why he wasn't on hospice. He was in the hospital, and he could not believe he was dying. He couldn't, like I said, he could not wrap his mind around the fact that he was dying. And he was very anxious, very stressed out, which is not the norm. Like I know many years in hospice, we would always try to bring the team in to make sure that the patient got counseling, got the religious representative in there, nursing, family, friends, whatever we had to do to make the patient comfortable and less stressed. Well, this patient was still in the hospital, and he was just, it wasn't really terminal restlessness because he was lucid, he was awake, he had the IV machines and the cardiac monitor on, so there was a lot of sounds and beeping, and anytime one of the machines would go off, he would scream, "Someone get in here," trying to call his call light. But, if any of you have ever been in the hospital, you can press your call light. But if we're all busy, we can't kind of come, and you have to kind of wait your turn. You're not the only one there, which was kind of awful, but that's just how it is there. So that's why it's always nice to have a family member there. Okay, I don't want to ramble. Back to the story. But he would scream at the nurses and whoever was working, "Get in this room, turn this machine off. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Don't let me die." So anytime a machine would go off, he was stressed out that he was going to die. And so the staff got used to him. They were in and out of his room all the time, doing what they can to make him comfortable, but they just could not relieve his stress. Like, why is this patient so afraid of dying? The unknown can be a little scary, but this was just on another level. Like, he was completely stressed out, completely. So finally, his cardiac monitor went off. The alarm was going off. And of course, all the staff knows him, but, they rush in, there's a code blue, they run in with the crash cart, they're getting ready to do their assignments because we all kind of know what to do in a code, and they all kind of freeze. And the nurses look at each other. Meanwhile, there's just chaos going on everywhere. The patient is levitating off of his hospital bed 2 to 3 inches. And not just that, he's maniacally laughing. This is how it was reported. So the nurses are just kind of stunned. They're in shock. Here's this patient that was always stressed out. Don't let me die. Don't let me die. Don't let me die. And now he's levitating off his bed and maniacally laughing. And they're looking at each other. And finally, they kind of snap out of the shock, as we as healthcare providers always do. We see some traumatic, terrible things, and we always have to be professional and do our job. That is part of the job. That's part of what we sign up for. So they get to work. They're despite the levitation, they get on there, doing a full code, which means they start CPR and, they're getting the defibrillator ready. They're doing all that we do that when you call a code. Well, unfortunately, the patient did not survive. He did die. And they didn't even discuss, like, can you believe what we just saw? They were just going over the code, and I think some of them were trying to block out or just kind of forget about what they saw, honestly. I mean, I wasn't there. But one of the nurses that stayed behind, because you have to take all the IVs out, the equipment. We do like a bed bath to get the body prepared. So when family or friends or whatever are coming to see the body before it's the body's transported, usually downstairs, it's usually in the basement to our hospital mortuary. We get the room cleaned up, get all the scary wires and tubes and machines out of there, because that's intimidating for a lot of people. So as she's staying behind to do this, she knows the patient very well. And of course, he's dead. And so she hears, "Oh, you let him die. Oh, you let him die. That's just too bad." And then after that, she hears, "Don't let me die. Don't let me die." As if the patient kind of came back to life, which he didn't. I mean, she's looking over there. He is still not alive, not breathing, no pulse, nothing. Yet she hears his voice in the room saying that. So for weeks afterwards, most of the nurses wouldn't talk about it. The ones that did said they were traumatized from the whole experience, that they were still having nightmares from it. Some wouldn't even talk about it. They're like, "I don't know what you guys saw. I didn't see anything," even though they all saw it. And that's how it was reported. So when I was thinking about this story and how amazing it is, and how could that happen? A couple things I thought. If I ran into the patient's room in a hospital, and I saw them levitating, I mean, the first thing I would do, I mean, obviously if they're running a code, yes, of course, I would run the code. But I would also be like, is there someone behind the bed, like holding him up that we didn't see for some reason? Like maybe they're trying to change the pad underneath them. Or, oh my God, did they switch the mattresses out on us? And there's a Clinitron bed in there, and there's air flowing now in the mattress, and it just looks like he's being pushed up. Like, to me, that's a plausible explanation, because I've talked about this on another video. When you have those air mattresses, they kind of move the body. And I guess it would kind of, when it's filling up, it would look like the body's levitating. I'm just trying to come up with a rational explanation. There's always the explanation of that he was indeed levitating, and I still can't explain the maniacal laughing. I mean, this patient was extremely afraid and stressed out about dying. Why would all of a sudden he be laughing his head off when he's in cardiac arrest and there's a code being called? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And, I've seen these interviews. Have you seen these online with the priests that do exorcisms? You can see it on YouTube. There's many different channels that are interviewing these priests, and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, yes, we've seen people levitate." So I have to acknowledge that is a possibility. That patient could indeed have been levitating. I don't think those nurses there's no benefit to lying about that. Because again, I talk about this on my channel, that being in healthcare, we try to be professional. We're not talking about spirit. Now things are a little bit more loose, and we talk about spirituality more there. But, I've been in healthcare since, I started volunteering back in Arizona, Tempe. I want to say it was like late 80s, I think, when I started volunteering. And then, went to nursing school in the 1990s. So a long time in healthcare, and we did not talk about, if you talked about ghosts and spirits, they'd be like, we're going to refer you for counseling and mental health. But that's not the case anymore. I think something's changing, and we're talking about it now. So I think that is a possibility that he was indeed levitating. And I'm going to leave a light on tonight when I go to sleep, because that's wild. Mm-hmm. I still don't know what hospital this came from. I'm still trying to figure that out. It came from an online blog where they were talking about just true hospital stories. And that one just stuck out to me because, again, doing hospice work for 10 years, I had never seen a patient levitate. Now, I've seen some scary things in a room as far as just like, okay, that's not normal. That's not, And again, you can see my "Is There Evil in the Room" video. I guess that's the closest thing to it. But no, I never saw a patient levitate. So what are your thoughts on that? Please leave your comments below, what you think about that. And again, if I find out any more information on the author of that, or the gear, or the hospital, I will certainly let you know. And hopefully you're getting ready for Thanksgiving and are going to get ready to have a good holiday. Thanks for being here, you guys, and I will see you on the next one.